All right, so let us start today's session. So today's session is how to use Jira tool. Okay, so before using the Jira tool, let us try to understand what is Jira. So what it is contains, so what is the exact purpose of Jira tool. Okay, so we have multiple types of tools are available in the software testing industry, guys. Okay, so we have bug tracking tools, we have test management tools, right? So we have automation tools, functional automation tools, performance testing tools, security testing tools. So there are n number of tools are there in the market, especially for testing. Okay, and these are different type of testings. We have a different type of tools, and again we can divide these tools into two different parts. One is management tools and the other one is automation tools. So what is management tools means, what is the process we are following and what are the documents we are preparing or what are the activities we are doing throughout the testing cycle. We can track all these activities in a tool instead of using the templates or instead of using Word or Excel templates. We can track all these activities in a tool. So they are basically comes under test management tools. So whatever activities we are doing throughout the testing process or throughout the testing life cycle, we are organizing the tasks or managing the tasks or tracking the tasks in a tool. Those tools are comes under test management tools. So what we can do in the test management tools, we can define the requirements, we can write the test scenarios, test cases, and we can update the test case execution status, and we can report the bugs. Okay, and finally we can close the requirement. So all these things are testing activities, STLC. So these activities we can do in the tool itself instead of using the templates. So that is, they are some tools support these activities. So those tools are comes under test management tools. There are some other tools called bug tracking tools or defect tracking tools, and those tools will be used only for defect tracking. So whenever you find a bug, you can report the bug through that particular tool instead of using templates. So you can just write the defect description, priority, severity, steps. You can attach a screenshot, I can send it for developer, and developer will take care of the defect. So they are all comes under the defect tracking tools or bug tracking tools. That is another type of tools we have. Okay, and let me just write here, understand the difference, which is very important as a beginner, guys. Okay, people may expect something in interview. So do you know the differences between these tools or not? So the test management tools. Okay, so each and every activity we can track in the test management tools, like from the beginning, test cases, writing test cases, execution, bug reporting, everything we can track in the test management tools. And similarly, we also have bug tracking tools or defect tracking tools, and these tools only for bug tracking or defect reporting tools, or we can say bug reporting and tracking tools. Bug reporting and tracking tools, we can say defect reporting and tracking tools also, anything is fine. So these are the two main tools we have. Apart from this, okay, we also have automation tools like Selenium, QTP. These are all test automation tools. So whatever test cases we have, we can automate those test cases. Okay, they are the completely different tools. And these are the process related, like what are the activities we do during the testing. We will automate all these process tasks, like we can track or we can maintain the activities in those particular tools. So test management tools and bug reporting and tracking tools. Again, the test management tools also having features of bug reporting. So this is also part of STLC. So test management tools, when I use test management tools, we can also use it for bug tracking purpose. Okay. But apart from these two, there are other type of tools called Agile tools. Okay. Agile tool. So what is Agile tools, or Agile tools means basically these tools especially designed for automating the agile process. Okay, especially these tools are designed for tracking the agile tasks. Like in agile process, in the previous session we have discussed about the lot of things, like from the epic stories we will define by the product owner, and then after that we will have product backlog, then we have a sprint planning meeting, then we will select the some of the stories from backlog and we prepare the sprint backlog, which contains some of the stories which are committed by the dev and QA. Then we will have a sprint, and the sprint duration will be 2 to 4 weeks of time. And once you start a story, which will go to different stages, like starting the story, development, testing, deployment. So multiple stages the story will go on, and finally we will close all the bugs related to the story, and we close the story and we will demo the story to the product owner, and finally release to the customer. So in this agile process, whatever activities we are doing, so to define these activities and tracking these activities, we have a different tools called agile tools. And all the scrum related activities we will perform in the agile tool itself. And we can also maintain the scrum board or storyboard in the tool itself. And we can generate the graphs like burn down chart and velocity chart. So all these things we can automatically generate in the tools. And everything we can do, whatever activity, even the small activity, whatever you do in the agile process, we can track or we can define those activities in the agile tool. Okay, so that is all about agile tool. So what are the tools available in the market as part of agile? We have most popular tool is Jira. Okay, and apart from this Jira, we also have something called uh, version 1. So this is also one of the tool which is available in the market. Okay, and Team City. Okay, and there are multiple tools are available in the market. Some of them are free, some of them are open source. Okay, okay, these are all comes under agile tools. Means each and every activity in the agile process contains again development activities, testing activities, everything will be part of agile. So these tools will assist you to define each and everything which we follow in the agile process. Okay, so these are the tools which are examples of agile tools. So now we are going to discuss about Jira tool. So Jira is a purely agile management tool. We can say agile management tool. Each and every activity we can define, we can track in Jira tool itself. And this tool can be used by developers, tester, product owners. So whoever is working on the team, in the agile team, they have access on Jira tool. Okay, so in the Jira we will do a lot of activities. So I will just show you what are the activities we do first. I'll list out here and then we will do step by step. Okay, so what is Jira? So we understood what is Jira is. So Jira is a agile project management tool, or we can say agile management tool. Jira is a agile management tool, means which includes the development activities, testing activities, product owner, everybody will track everything in Jira itself. We should not go out of Jira tool. Even in Jira we can also do test management activities, but Jira itself is not providing any test management activities by default. So by default, Jira we cannot define the test cases, bugs and everything. But we have a special plugin called Zephyr, and if I install that particular plugin in within the Jira, we can also do test management activities, right? We can also define the test cases, we can write the test cases, we can upgrade the status of the test cases, we can report the bugs. Okay, and we can generate the test reports, everything we can do in the Jira itself by using Zephyr plugin along with the Jira. Okay, apart from the agile management activities, so we will see all of them practically. So first of all, let us start. So first we will see how to install and configure Jira tool. Okay, and there is some workflow is available, so we need to follow that workflow, Jira workflow. So what is the Jira workflow? So let me just write here. Jira can be used in two different angles, guys. Okay, the first thing is we will see how we can use Jira for tracking the agile related activities. What is meant by agile related activities? First, we will have creation of project, and then we will have a backlog which contains different stories, epics and stories we will define. And after that, we will create a sprint, and we will add stories to the sprint, and then we will start our sprint, which will go 2 to 3 weeks of time or 4 weeks of time. And during the sprint, there are multiple tasks we are going to do for that particular story. So for that particular story, and developer and testers both will write their tasks for each story, and they will complete those tasks during the period of time or sprint time, and finally we will close the story. So this is called as a workflow. Okay, once a story is defined by product owner, the story will go to different stages till it is closed. Okay, so that is basically called as a workflow. So that is agile process, agile workflow in Jira. And apart from this, we also have a test management activities, right? That is a different workflow again. So once you install Zephyr plugin within the Jira, we have to follow a different workflow to perform test management activities. Like first we need to uh, create our test cases, or we can import the test cases. Suppose in Excel you have n number of test cases, so you need to upload all the test cases at once in the Jira. You can also do that. You can import all the test cases once instead of writing each test case individually. It takes time, so you can import all the test cases in Jira once, and then we can create a test cycle. Then we'll add the test cases to that particular test cycle. Then we can execute the test cases, and if there is any failure we can report the bugs, and then we will generate the reports. So these are all test management activities. So these activities also we can do in the Agile or in the Jira tool, and it is also having a different workflow. Okay. So first we will see Agile part, and then we will come to the test management activities, how to write test cases and everything we will see later. Okay. So that is all about workflow, Jira workflow. So first let us start with Agile related activities, how we can do Agile related activities in the Jira tool. Okay. The first and most important thing is I'm going to show you. So what are Agile or Scrum activities? Okay, so I'll just list out here step by step, one by one, and then we will see how we can perform them in Jira tool. So before doing that, I'll show you how to install and configure Jira tool. Okay, so first we will see how to install and configure Jira tool. So Jira is basically available. Okay, let me discuss this later. So how to install and configure Jira tool. This is the first thing which we need to do. Okay. So Jira is basically agile management tool. Okay. So which is available in two different flavors. So which is available in the two different flavors. And if I just go to Jira official website, I'm just searching Jira tool. Okay, and this is from Atlassian company. So this is a company, and this is a product based company. They will develop different type of products, and Jira software is a one of the product of Atlassian company. Okay, so now just click on this atlassian.com software Jira, and if I just look at here, these are the different products they develop from the Atlassian company, and Jira software is a one of the most popular software for Agile, Jira software. Okay. Now, if I just click on this Jira software, you will get some information about the Jira tool. So this is a page you will get, and they said it is a free. See, number one software development tool used for Agile teams. So they said it is get it free, but this is free only for 30 days. Okay. And this software we no need to download. Okay, we can also download, install, but it is again a complex process. We need to set up a server and everything. So instead what you can do is we can create a Jira instance on their cloud. So cloud means what? They allocate some space and they will configure Jira for us, and they will provide the link to us. So we can use that link and we can work with the Jira tool for 30 days. Okay. So the Jira is available on the cloud. So we can create our cloud instance for Jira software, and we can use it for 30 days. Okay. If you want to plan any practice, anything, so within 30 days, we can finish it out. Okay. So this is for 30 days if available. And within the 30 days, 10 members you can use the software, because in the Jira there are multiple people are using, right? Product owner, testers, developers, scrum master. So multiple team members will be using Jira tool, right? So all the users should be part of the Jira tool. So this particular cloud instance will support maximum 10 users. Okay, so within 30 days we can add 10 users and you can work with the Jira tool. So that is a limitation which we have on cloud instance. Okay, so they have given some information about this Jira tool and workflow. Here you can just look at here. So open, in progress, under review, final approval, done. This is a small workflow of Agile as per Jira tool, and some other information also they have provided in this particular website. You can just go through this later. So how we can how we can install and configure Jira tool. So basically they have provided Jira in two flavors. Okay, one is in the cloud itself we can have two types of instances. One is free version, and 10 users are limited. And the other one is if you want to still continue after 10 days, sorry, after 30 days, 10 users, 30 days. Okay. So after you want to continue with Jira after 30 days, or if you want to increase number of users, then you have to go with provisional version. So this is a licensed version. On the same cloud, the same URL, you can still use it, but you need to pay for the Jira tool. So we need to buy some license for that, which is professional version, which is available. For 30 days, 10 users, we can access freely on the cloud. Okay. So nowadays, most of the companies are going with the cloud instances, guys. Okay. They are not setting up any environment in there locally. They are not ready to setting up any machines to install a complex softwares. So most of the companies are moving to the cloud. So nowadays, cloud technologies are becoming very, very popular. So similarly, most of the softwares also companies are offering on the cloud environment directly. So we can have an instance on the cloud and we can use it for our company and as many days I want. So after that, after I completed my work, I can close it. Okay. So some companies initially they offer free of cost, and after some duration we need to pay for them to maintain our instances on their cloud environment. Okay. So now Jira is available on the cloud, and basically they are offering two flavors. One is free version, 30 user for 30 days we can use, and then if you want to still continue, we can go with provisional version, which is a licensed version. Okay. So now let us see how we can get the cloud instance to work with the Agile. Okay. So now I'll show you step by step. So please concentrate on this. So what we need to do is, I'll just provide you one small link, which will go to Jira download location. Okay. This is a link. So if I just go to this link, or you can just go here also, you can just go to Jira software, and you can, I have provided direct link here, or else you can just go here, get it free, click on get it free. Okay, now you can just look at this website, and this page you can get. And if I just look at support up to 10 users or 3 agents, and includes 2 GB of storage, offers community support, it always free, no credit, no card needed, but it is only for 30 days. Okay. Right. So they have given two things here, Confluence and Jira Service Management. So we don't need to go for Confluence. It is only for document collaboration tool. And we need to go for Jira Service Management. Okay. Or else you can just click on the next. No need to select anything. You can just click on the next. And here, which will show you a few things. So here it will ask you the login, guys. Okay. So first of all, before creating the cloud instance of Jira, you have to use your Gmail account. Okay. With that Gmail ID, which will create a new instance. So here you can just provide your Gmail account. So what I will do is, I'll just provide my email account. So sign in with a different assistant account. I'm just Atlassian account. I'm just clicking on this, and you can provide your Gmail ID. Just a moment. So first time, it will ask you to provide your Gmail ID because you need to sign up with the site. Yeah, now you will get this screen. Okay. So here, whichever account you have, you can use that account to create an instance. So I'm just choosing the continue with the Google, and I want to use my Gmail account. So I have multiple accounts. I'm just using one account here, my Gmail account, existing account, and need to just provide the password here and then click on the next. So your Gmail account will be used as your Jira account. Okay. Then now it will go to another screen. So once you provided your Gmail account, okay, now you can just look at here. This is a Gmail ID currently you are using, okay, to create your Jira instance. And then this is most important step, climb your site. So here we have to provide some name, what exactly you are looking in the URL. So when I accessing the Jira tool, you have to provide some URL. So what should the URL contains? Okay, that URL you have to specify here. Okay. So let me just show you what exactly it is. So here, just a second. So let me just give something called Jira demo by Pawan. So when I enter something, which will check which is already there or not. Now we can just look at here. This site is already taken. So we need to give something else. Okay, so we need to give something else. So let me just, okay, so we need to give something else. So let me just give some other name. Let's say instead of Jira demo by Pawan, I say Jira training. Now let us check whether it is available or not. Yes, now we can see which is available. So Jira training by Pawan. So this is the name I'm just using in the URL. And once it is available, you can see the green color tick mark and then say agree. So this will come under URL. Okay, Jira training by Pawan .atlassian.net. So this is a complete URL which you have to use later. So I say agree. So once you said agree, so which will go and try to create a Jira instance for you. So it is trying to create. So it is it is still trying to create. Yeah, now we can see this particular screen. You can just select some of the options if you are required, or else you can skip the question, not required. And again, you can skip it. So basically they are asking, who are you? You are a founder, or you are product owner, you are a student, or you are business analyst, what you are exactly. So they are asking here. And you can also skip this question, not mandatory. So once you skip it, then it is going to create a new Jira instance. So let it complete. Okay. So now it is trying to create our Jira instance. Yeah. So now the next step will start. So when you create a Jira instance, right? So multiple people in a team can access the Jira, right? So you need to add different people in your team, like including product owner, like developers, testers, scrum master, and these people will be part of the Jira project. So they should be able to access the Jira tool. So here you can specify those email addresses. So whoever is working on your team in that particular project, you can specify the email addresses of them, and then automatically these people will be added to the Jira project. Okay, so we can do this step later also. So once you created the project, then I will add the people to that project. So for now, you can just skip it. I say continue. Okay, so once you continue, it is asking like, help us set up your Jira. So what exactly it is, you can select I am new to Jira or I'm experienced with. So you can just select I am new to Jira and my team is, here you can just select the second box. My team is also new to Agile methodologies, or my team is also experienced with Agile methodology. You can select one of these option. I say new to. It is just like a fill in the blanks case. Okay, I am new to Jira. My team is also new to Agile methodologies, and we spent our time working on here in the drop down box. Most of the times on what we are working: features, support operations, and fixing bugs. Anything we can select, and I'm just selecting the features. Or these are all things are optional, guys. Okay, not mandatorily required. I just say skip it here. Okay, now we will see something called three options. You can just look at here. Okay, this is Kanban project, Scrum project, bug tracking project. So three different parts we have. So we will work on Scrum project. So which will manage the stories, tasks, workflows for Scrum team. So for teams, sorry, I'll just go back again. Okay, so we need to select the middle project, guys. So there are three options it is provided. So we have to select the middle one. So again, I'm skipping it. Okay, so if you have a team, you have to provide the email addresses, or else you can just skip it. And you no need to select this option, just skip it. Now this is the project which you have to select, the middle one. So click on select. Now here it is asking for project name. So what project we are going to do? So we have to provide the name of the project. So initially my project name is, I'll say open card. This is my project name. And once you specify your project name, it will automatically try to create one key. So what is key means? So whenever you create a story, or whenever you create a task, or whenever you create a bug or test case, whatever you do whatever the object you are creating within the Jira, so you have to provide some name to that. So the name is always followed by the prefix. So that is your key. So for example, when I create a new story and the story contains some ID, let's say 001, and which will automatically add this key, let's say OP underscore 001. Okay, similarly, if you add some task, so task ID will be there. Let 002 is my task ID. So the task ID will be created by using this key. Let's say OP underscore your task ID number. So whatever object we created in the agile process, like it can be story, it can be epic, or it can be bug, or it can be task, whatever you created, everything is called as an object in the Jira tool. And these objects names will be starting with key. So that key we have to specify here. So by default, it will suggest one key here, and you can change it. Let's say I say open card, I say OC, I'm just saying OC. You can change it. This is called key, and this is the name of my project. And then I say create. Directly can click on the create. And once you have done this, which will automatically create a new project in Jira tool. So now you can see this is the home page of your Jira tool. So now the Jira instance is created for you. And this instance is managed with your Gmail ID for 30 days, and 10 people you can add into this particular project. So now you can just click on this Jira quick start and everything. We don't need this. So now this is the first user interface of your Jira tool. And you can find a lot of things here, your work projects. If I just go to the projects, your project name by default, it will show you. And if you have a multiple projects, all the projects will show you in this list. You can select whichever project currently you are working. And filters, dashboards. If I just go to the dashboard, which will show you all your activities in the dashboard. And people, here you can see the all the team members information. And apps means here, if you want to add any additional plugins into Jira, like a Zephyr plugin, you can add it through apps menu. So there are multiple things are available here. And also this side, you can see here, this is my project name, and this is a board or scrum board, we can say, a roadmap, backlog, active sprints, reports, issues, components. There are a lot of things are there. We will discuss later. Okay. So this is a UI, the front UI, the first UI of your Jira application. Okay. So this is the way we need to configure, install Jira tool. Okay. So I will also provide the screenshot step by step. You guys can also follow that because I already captured the screenshot for this. Okay. All right. So now we have successfully configure the cloud instance of Jira tool. We have successfully configured cloud instance of Jira tool. We have not downloaded, we have not installed anything. We have just configured the cloud instance of Jira tool. Free version, 10 users, 30 days. Okay. So now we can work with this tool 30 days. You can practice it. So everybody can create their own instances of cloud. Okay. So after that, so we have to know the workflow. So what exactly we can do in the Jira tool. So in the previous session, we have discussed about what are the exactly Scrum activities, right? The same activities we are going to perform in the Jira tool. So what are those activities? So what are the Agile or Scrum activities we do? So let me just list out here one by one. We will try to do it. So we already installed and configured Jira tool. So now we are in the home page. We are ready to do all the activities. So the first and most activity is creating the project. Okay. So creating the project, how to create a project in Jira. So at the time of creating the instance itself, we have provided the project name, right? So that's the reason by default, you can see your project here. Suppose tomorrow, if I want to create a new project in the Jira, then you can just go to projects menu and you can select this option. You can just select the create project. And again, you have to select what type of project you want to select. Suppose here, classic project or next generation project, and say classic project, and then click on the select classic. Then again, it will ask you the project name. It will generate the key and then create. So this particular flow we can use to create a new projects. For now, I'm just closing this because we already have a project. That is a project creation, how to create a project in Jira. And there is something called dashboard here. If I just go to the dashboards, view all dashboards, and which will show you what are all different projects we have, and who is the owner, access level, how many people are working on that project. All the information will be shown in the dashboards. So once we created everything, it will show you here. These are the dashboards. Most of the time management people will look at these particular dashboards to know the status of the projects. Okay, and then how to create a project we have seen. And then the first and main activity is their team works on the Jira, right? So team means what? Scrum master, product owner, developers, testers. So all the team members should be part of this project. So the first and most important activity is, let us see how we can add users or people to the project or in Jira. Okay, that's the next activity. So first we have seen how to create a new project. And second thing is, we need to add certain number of people to that particular project. Okay, so now I'll show you how we can add users or peoples into Jira project. So if I just click on here again, Jira software, we will go to home page, or this is my project name. So you can just click on this, which will go to home page. So now we are in the home page of Jira software. So how to create a users or people in Jira? So create users for this project. What you can do is, we have to go to the settings. Here you can just look at here. Let me increase the size also. You can just look at a small gear icon, settings menu. So in the settings menu, you have to just click on the settings here, and you can find something called user management. So by using this option, what you can do is, you can add users, groups, and manage access request. So not only adding the people, every people is having, every user is having different role. Like one guy is acting as a product manager, product owner, one guy is scrum master, other is developers, testers, multiple roles we have. So let's go to user management, click on user management, and then it will automatically opens another tab. Like we are entering into the administration part. And once you go to this particular screen, so here we have to add email addresses of the users. So who and all working on this particular project, we have to provide the email addresses here. And currently, if I just look at here, I am only the user for this particular project. Right. So if you want to add multiple users, I can also add those users. Let me go back again. Okay. So here we need to provide the email address. So your team members who are working on your team, you can just provide addresses of those email address. Let's say I'm just using some dummy email addresses. I'll say ABC. Okay. He's a developer. I'll say dev. ABC developer. I say prefix dev, and I say some gmail.com. And similarly, I say some XYZ, and he's a QA. I'll say QA at gmail.com. And similarly, I say something uh, MNO. So he's a product owner. I'll say PO. So at the rate gmail.com. So like this, you can create multiple users to this project. Okay, and if I select this checkbox, what happens is, these users can invite a new users and access administrator and add products. And these are basically not administrator users. So I just don't want to select this checkbox and say invite team members. As soon as I click on the team members, and here you can use the real Gmail IDs also, guys. If I add your email IDs here, you will automatically invited to this Jira. You guys can use my Jira tool from your location. If I add your email addresses here, okay. So I can just say invite team members, and once you click on that, automatically the people will be added to your project. Whoever is working under your team will be added to this project. So now it is added, and if I just come down here, you can just look at here. So these are the different people I have added to this particular project. Okay, so this is a basically user management, how to add users or people in Jira tool, right? So once we have done this, then actual workflow will start. So in the Scrum, where exactly we will start? So first we need to start with the backlog. So we need to have product backlog, then we will have stories in the backlog. We have to create epics, and first we need to have a uh, backlog, right? So in the backlog, what you will have, we will have epics, or each epic is having multiple stories. Okay, each epic is having stories. And once we have done this, then we have to create a sprint. We have to create a sprint, and we need to add stories to the sprint. We have to add stories to the sprint, and then we have to start sprint. We have to start the sprint, and at the same time, once you start a sprint, we need to add tasks, tasks for every story, right? So these are the workflow, step by step activity. So first we will see this. First we need to have a backlog. Then backlog contains what? Backlog, we will create the backlog. Product owner will create the backlog by taking the requirement from the customer, right? So first we need to have a backlog for the project. Then the backlog contains the epic, one or more number of epics. Then the epic contains the stories, right? So let us try to create this first. So let's go step by step. So first we will try to create a backlog and epic, then I'll come back to the stories. How to create a backlog? Inside the backlog we will have a epic. Inside the epic we will create the stories. Now here, uh, yesterday I have shown you one small document, guys, so which contains all the epic stories and everything, right? So let me just open the document. So let me just open the document. Yeah. All right. So here, this is my product backlogs. So yesterday class, we have seen this. So this is my epic. Uh, epic contains a multiple stories. So these are the stories and these are the titles of or feature names. And this is acceptance criteria. So let us try to create epic and corresponding stories in Jira tool. Okay. Right. So now let's go to Jira tool. And here, if I just go to your project, now I can just close this, and this is our project homepage, right? So if I just go here, there is small thing called backlog here. You can just look at here. This is my backlog. Okay. So if I just go to the backlog, click on this backlog, right? So you can just look at two options here, versions and epics. Versions and epics. Backlog, we no need to create separately, which is already there inside the project. Okay. So inside the backlogs, we have two options here, versions and epics. There are no stories or backlogs so far we created. This is completely empty now. It doesn't have anything. If there is any epics or stories, which will show you here. Okay. So now inside the backlog, when I click on the backlog here, which will show you this window. So here we have to create something called versions. Okay. And then epics. So first let's go to versions. Okay. Once you click on the versions, just a moment. Okay, so show with versions panel. Use versions to keep track and code release. Just a moment. As soon as when I click on that option, which will show you, we need to add some versions there. Let me click on once again. So sometimes it will be very, very slow, guys. So you need to just keep wait for a few seconds, and that will automatically, the menu will start. Okay, so select the backlog here. Okay, and then go to projects, and then select the project once again here. So select the backlog, go to projects and select the project what you want to work on, which project you want to work. So click on project once again here. Okay, and then it will show you again, go to backlog once again. Yeah, now we can see, just select the backlog, go to projects and select whichever project you are currently working, then again come back to the backlog, then you will see these options. So under epics you will see versions and issues. And one more important thing in Jira is, in every object we call it as a issue. So don't think issue is nothing but a bug. So in Jira language, in Jira point of view, every object which we call as a issue. So for example, story is a one issue type, and similarly, bug is an issue type. Task is also one issue type, right? Similarly, a test case is also an issue type. So everything in Jira, each and every object will consider as one issue type. So what are the issue types? Like story, task, epic. So all these things are comes under issue types in Jira. Okay. So now if I just select the backlog and go to project and select your project, then automatically the backlog items will come here. So currently I don't have any epics or stories. Now what you have to do is first we need to create a epic. So how to create an epic? So here select the epics, and here you can see versions and all issues. Currently I don't have any versions or any epics. So first we will create a version. So click on this create version, and under this project I'm just providing some name to the epic. Okay, so just a moment, let me just close these things first of all. So this is the initial screen, guys. Okay, when I click on the versions information will come. When I click on the epics information also will come. So first of all, let us try to add version. So I'm just clicking on the versions here and then create a version. So here I'm just giving some version name. Okay, I'll say this is open cart version 001. I'm just giving some number. I say V001, open cart V001. If you want to write some description, you can write it. And when this project start, when the project is end, you can select the date. So today I'm starting, and the whole project will end. Let's say, sorry, I say February, March 23. So 2 months of time I'm giving, and just say create. So now we can see the version is created, and then we need to go to epics, and now we need to add epics to this backlog. Okay, now we can just see one small link here, create epic. So I'm just clicking on the create epic. Now you can see this is my project name. Now here, these are the issue types: task, story, and bug. So these are the main three issue types we have in Jira, guys: task, story, and bug. Okay, so what kind of issue type we are creating now? Epic. So we have to select the epic here, and then here we have to provide the name of the epic and summary of the epic. So you can just look at the Excel sheet. We have something called name of the epic, summary of the epic. And what I can do is you can just simply specify this is the name of the epic. This is a summary actually. So let me just type summary here and provide a short name to identify the epic. So I can just give this as a name of the epic. So this is my name of the epic, and this is a small description of my epic or summary of my epic. Similarly, if you want to create another epics, you can just select this check mark automatically, create another, and just automatically, which will give you another screen. This epic will be created, and then another epic will be created. And if you have multiple epics, you can just use this option, create another, then it will automatically give you another screen to add another epic. So currently I have only one epic. Under this epic, I'll try to add multiple stories. So for now, I'm just saying create. So once you have done this, now you can see a new epic is created. So far what we have done under this project, we have created one version, and also we have created one epic. So open cart underscore epic 001. So this is our epic, and this is the automatic one ID will be created. OC and -1. This is a epic ID which is created by Jira tool itself. Okay, so if you want to see what are epics are available inside the backlog, just you select your project here and then go to backlog, and then you can see what are all epics you have here. And if you add one more epic, that will come here below this epic. One more epic will come here. Okay, so this is where we need to create an epic. So inside the backlog, and we created one epics. How to create a backlog epic we have seen. Okay, so we have to select the backlog, go to projects, select the project. Automatically these things will come. First create a version, then create an epic. So once your epic is ready, what is epic? Epic is a collection of stories. So inside the epic we have to create multiple stories, right? So that is a next activity. So once you created your backlog epic, then we have to create stories in Jira, and then we need to add story points to them. That is a fourth step. So once epic is ready, we have to create a stories under this epic, and for every story we need to add story points. What is story point means? Estimation, rough estimation, which we need to define for that particular story. So now I'll show you how to add stories to this particular epic. Story is a small requirement. So now I'll show you how to add the stories to this particular epic, and also we will add story points to that particular uh, story. Okay. Now, as per our Excel file, so these are the user stories, right? So now we have to create these stories under the epic. Now let us see how we can create them. So go back, and now to create the stories under this epic, what you have to do is we have to directly go to create button here. Okay. If you click on the create button, you will see the project name, and under this is the epic core. Which one you want to create? Story you have to create. So select the story. Okay. And once you selected this story, here we have to provide the summary of the story. Here we have to provide the summary of the story. Okay. So how to provide the summary of the story is just we need to copy from the Excel sheet. So let me just copy here. And this is a summary, you can say feature or title we can provide as a summary. And here, if there is any documentation have for this particular story to understand better, the product owner will attach those documents here, like UI screens or mock screens or DFT diagrams. If there is any documents are available for this particular story, the product owner will attach those documents to this particular story. Okay, the upload documentation is option is available here. And then under description, so in the inside the description we have to add our story. So this is our user story which we need to add. Copy this user story and specify here. And reporter, so who is creating the user story? Normally here the product owner name automatic will come if it is a product owner is doing this task. And reporter, and then he's a reporter. And if I just look at here, yeah, it will come here automatically. So we have to select that reporter name. And if there are any link issues, we can link it, or else you can leave it issues not required. And these things are not required. And assignee, so whom you are assigning the story. So you have to select that person who is responsible for that story. You have to select the proper user who is responsible for the story. Currently I'm selecting myself. And then what is the priority of the particular story? So how much important it is, how soon we have to release this story to the customer. Highest, high, low, and lowest we have to select. And the labels you can give for every object, like you can provide the labels for stories, tasks, epics, everything, because later the searching point of view it will be very useful. If you want to search particular story or particular task or whatever, you can just search with the label, and then automatically the stories and tasks will be displayed which are matching with the label names. If you want to provide, you can provide some label names or else leave it empty. And here the epic link. So if I just select this drop down, which will show you the epic which you have created. So or for which epic, under which epic you are creating the story. So that epic we have to select here. Okay. And on which sprint you are planning this story. So currently we don't created any sprint. We haven't created any sprint. So currently you can just leave this as empty. So this is how we need to provide the details in the story, and then we just say create. So again, if I just click on the create button, it will just create only single story. And if you want to add multiple stories, then you can select this option. And then what happens when you click on this create, then this story will be created, and again it will give you the same screen once again, which will allow you to add one more story. So let me show you that. So select this check mark and then say create. Now observe this. Now the story has been successfully created. Registration story is successfully created. Now I want to add one more story. So again, the empty screen is displayed here. You can just look at here, right? Now I'm just going to add one more story. So now the other story is a login is another story. I'm just summary. And if there is any documentation, you can add it. And then I'm passing this one, user story description. Copy this, specify. I say myself is reporter, and you don't need to modify anything here if required. And epic link is also automatically linked. I say again, select these check marks because I have one more story to add. So I say create. Okay, now it is OC0-3 login has been successfully created. Now I'm going to add one more story. So select the project, select the issue type as a story, and then I'll provide the summary, and then a logout story I'm just going to add. log out, and this is a responsibility of the product owner. So tester won't do this activity. Okay. So here I'm just copying the story description, put it here, and then reporter linked issues, and you can just select assignee, and required information we can just put here, otherwise you can just leave it, guys. So sprint we are not selecting here. Okay, so later we will add the stories to the sprint. So again, create another, just say click create. Now again one more story is being created, logout has been successfully created. Now I have one more last a story which I am going to create, user search products. So provide the summary and the description. This is a user story, and the rest of the details as it is. And then this time I don't have any other stories. So this is my last story. So I just remove the check mark and then say create. So now totally 4 stories have been created. Now we can just check the confirmation messages. Now we can see as soon as I go to backlog, and as soon as you can see epic, and here you can see what are the stories just now we created. So 1 2 3 4 stories we have created under this particular epic, and every story is having some unique id. You can just look at here, oc02, oc0345. Okay, so there are multiple stories which we have created under this epic. So this is the next step. So far what we have done, we have go to backlog and we created epic along with the version. Under this epic we created stories. Okay, and 4 stories we have created under this epic. How to create these stories? Go to create and select the issue type as a story, and provide the description summary. You can provide the description and just create as many stories you want, you can just create them. Okay, so this is how we need to create all the stories under the particular epic. Now once you created your story, we have to add story points, because we need to estimate that story, and based upon the estimation, based upon the story point, we will select that story for the particular sprint, depends upon the duration. Okay, so now how we need to add story points to this particular user stories. Now let me add some story points. So to add story points this particular story, what you can do is we can just click on the story. So here this is my story, registration. So I'm just clicking on the story. So once you click on the story, another side you can just look at here, you can see story details. I'm just clicking on the registration. Observe this, registration details are appeared here, story details are displayed here. When I select the login details are displayed. When I select the logout details. When I select the user search products, user search product details are displayed. So now I need to add story points to this particular stories. Now first story register I selected. Now if I just look at here, all the details will be displayed along with the story points. So here we have to provide the story point number. So during the sprint planning meeting, we will do all these things. So what is the story point for this? 8. So I'm just giving the story point as 8, because these are very, very important, guys. Later, while calculating the metrics, like when you're generating the burn down charts, so these story points time will be calculated. So that's the reason we must specify the story point number for every story. So story point, once you provided some number, I say tick mark, and which is saved. Similarly for login story also, I'm trying to add story points. So for login, 5 story points. You can consider them. Some companies will consider each story point, 1 story point equal to 1 hour, or some companies will consider like 1 story point equal to 6 hours. That means one day. So 5. So the next story login story point is 5, and say tick mark. So that is saved. Then logout. So for logout, okay. So for logout, the story point is 3. So I'm just going to provide story point as 3, and then select. And then for user search products, story point is, I say 5. I say 5 and then say tick mark. So now we have added story points for every story. Whatever stories we have added into that particular epic, we have added story points. Okay, so that's the next step. So we have created the number of stories inside the epic, and for each story we have added story points. So with this, the backlog is ready. So product backlog is ready. So backlog contains the epic, one epic currently, and the epic contains multiple stories along with the story points. So now the next step is we have to create a sprint. Okay, so in the agile process, in the during sprint planning meeting, we will decide so how many stories we have in the backlog, how many stories we have to develop and test for that particular sprint, and what is the sprint duration. We will do that, right? So now as soon as we have ready with the product backlog and stories are there, now the next step is we have to create a sprint. So we have to create a sprint, and then we have to add stories to the print, and then we have to start the sprint. That's the next activity. Fifth step, and sixth and seventh. So now backlog is ready with that, which contains a number of stories. Now the next step is we have to create a sprint. Sprint is nothing but 3 to 4 weeks of time, a small period of time. We can call it as a sprint. So once you created a sprint, then we have to select some stories from backlog, add those stories to the particular sprint, and then sprint will start. So as soon as we added stories to the sprint, developer and testers will add their tasks for each story. Okay, and then the sprint will start. Now we'll see how we can create a sprint, then how to add the stories to the sprint. So the stories are already ready in the product backlog, which are created by the product owner. Now we have to choose the particular stories and add them to the sprint. Then we will start the sprint. Okay. Now let's see how to create a sprint in Jira. So to create a sprint in Jira, what you have to do is, so if I just look at here, we already went to backlog and current project and backlog. Click on the backlog. You can see the epics list and stories, everything here. You can just close this window also. Right. So now we are ready with the backlog. So backlog contains the epic contains the stories. Now to develop and test these stories, we should start with a sprint, right? So now we need to create a sprint. So to create a sprint, the first sprint, I'm just click on the create sprint button. You can just look at here, a small button is appeared, create a sprint. Okay. What is sprint? Sprint is a cycle which contains a 2 to 4 weeks of duration. Within the duration, we have to implement few number of stories, not all the stories. Okay, we will choose specific stories which are uh, enough to particular 2 to 4 weeks of time. Like within 2 to 4 weeks of time, how many stories we are able to develop and test, and only those stories we will pick up and add them to sprint, and then we'll continue the process. So let us create a sprint. So I just clicking on create sprint. Okay, so once you click on create a sprint, now observe this. Okay, I'm also closing this epic window and this versions window. Yeah, now as soon as I click on the create a sprint, now you observe, you will see a new screen, something like this. So this is a OC sprint 1, which is created. Now it doesn't have any issues. Means what? This sprint is empty now. It doesn't have any stories planned for the sprint. As soon as I click on the create sprint, you will see this OC sprint 1. It doesn't have any stories. Now what you have to do from this backlog, we have to add some stories into this particular sprint. So now, as per the planning, let us say developers and testers decided to develop and test registration, login and logout functionalities as part of sprint 1. Then what you have to do is just we need to drag the stories like this into sprint. So first story is added to the sprint 1. Now, similarly, login is also I'm dragging to the sprint 1, and logout also I have planned for sprint 1. Now, user search parts, I will take this story for the another print later. So now I have selected few number of stories from the backlog into sprint 1. Okay, so now these 3 stories are part of sprint 1. So now currently 3 issues are there in the sprint 1. What are those 3 issues? 3 stories. Registration is 1 story, login and logout. Okay, so now our sprint is ready. So sprint is created and stories also added to the sprint. So once we have done this, what is the next thing? We have created a sprint in Jira, added stories to the sprint. Down, then we have to start the sprint. So how to start the sprint? There is one option called here, start sprint. So once you click on the start sprint, then the sprint will start. So when I click on the start sprint, you can just look at here. So we need to specify the duration, very, very important. So this is a sprint we have started. First sprint, how much duration? 1 to 4 weeks. That depends on the company. Okay. So some people will take 1 to 2 weeks or 1 to 3 weeks, 1 to 4 weeks, max 4 weeks, but it can also extend if you want. So I'll say 2 weeks duration. And from which date to which date? I have already selected 2 weeks here. So the end date automatically calculated. Okay. What is the sprint goal? So to develop and test registration, login, logout features. This is the goal of this particular sprint. Okay, because we have selected only 3 stories for this particular sprint. So once you return the goal, you can just come down, nothing is there. So then just say start. So as soon as you start here, the sprint is started. Now this is a scrum board, or we can say storyboard. So we can see the statuses, everything in this particular board. And this is the active sprint. So currently which sprint is going? So sprint 1 is going. If I just click on the active sprints, then what, in which sprint you are currently working on, which will show you here. So currently all 3 stories have added to the sprint. So to do and in progress and done. So still we have not started these stories as of now. So it is there in to do section. Now once it is in progress, we can just slowly move on like this. We can drag like once it is story is completed, then we have to move it to the done state. So normally these things will be done by the scrum master, guys. Okay, during the scrum meetings, they will ask the dev and QA team, okay, what is the status of the story? And the developer says, okay, I have done all the tasks for this story. And tester says, I have done all the tasks for this particular story. And then if it is in progress, he will put in progress section. Or if it is completed, then he'll put the done state. Once it is moved to the done state means what? That story is ready for demo. The story is ready for demo. And once the product owner is accept or approve that demo, then we will release that as part of the feature. So this is how we need to track the statuses. So now we have just created one sprint, added the stories to the sprint. Now we have started the sprint. So started the sprint. Now, once you started a sprint, each story is having different tasks. Suppose when I say registration is my story or feature. For that registration story, developer will do their own activities. Tester also will do their own activities, right? So for registration, what are the developer tasks? Normally what developer will do is, developer will perform these tasks: understanding the story or requirement, design the story, coding the story, unit testing, integration, coding, bug fixes, team meetings. These are all different tasks done by the developer for that particular story. Similarly, as part of the QA, you will understand the story or requirement, writing the scenarios, writing the test cases, reviews, data preparation, environment setup, execution, bugs retesting, team meetings, automation. These are all different tasks done by the tester for the particular story. So for each and every story, there are a set of developer tasks. There are some QA tasks. Okay, now we need to write these tasks inside the story. So now if I just go back, for each story, we have to define, developer will define their own task, tester will define their own task. So now from here, this is the responsibility of testers and developers, guys. So once a sprint is created and started, from there onwards, developers and tester responsibility will be the more. But during product backlog, creating the stories, planning the stories, these things will be part of product owner, responsibility of the product owner and scrum master. Once the sprint is created, committed stories, then the responsibility is developers and testers. Now, before once you started the sprint 1, then what you have to do is, for every story, developer will add their tasks. Similarly, for every story, tester also will add their own task. And one more thing, these stories will be developed and tested by multiple people. So only one developer is not responsible for all the stories. Similarly, one tester is not responsible for all the stories. Okay, suppose let us say first story one, registration. Some group of developers work, one or two developers and one or two testers. Similarly, for every story, there are multiple developers and multiple testers working together for that particular story. Now, so before progressing this story, the first thing is we have to clearly define the tasks. For each story, we have to clearly define the tasks. And who will define those tasks? Developers and testers will define the task. Now let us see how we can add task for this particular story. Now just click on the registration. Once you click on this, okay. So or else what you can do is, just a moment. If it is, you need to just click on the here. You can just look at open cart epic 001 is there, right? So you just click on this, which will open up one small screen. Just a second. It is responding very slow, guys. Just a second. So once you click on this, it will open up one small screen. There you can specify the task. You can add the tasks for this particular story. Okay, let me just go to projects again. I'm just coming from the beginning. So go to project, select your project. Yeah. Now we can see you got the screen now. So it is come very late, guys. Slowly we have to do. So let me show you once again. So this is our Scrum board. Okay, we have started sprint. Now we need to add tasks for each story. So let us take one story. Okay, now I'll show you how we can add task and everything. So let us see first story, registration. So click on this registration. Okay, once you click on the registration story, now you will see this screen. And in this particular screen, you will see all the details about the story. Okay, now you can see the description of the story and everything. So now we need to add tasks for this particular story. So how we can add tasks? You can just look at here, create a subtask. And when I say create subtask means which will create a new task for this particular story. Okay, or in other way, what you can do is we can just directly go to create here, and inside the project you can select the task directly here. Okay, so select the task, and now you can just specify the summary, and here you can just select the something called on which epic and which sprint you are going to add the task. And this is task is very high level task, means it can be anything, not specific to story. The task can be anything, not specific to story. It can be any meeting, or it can be a review. Okay, any task which is not specific to that particular story, right? But I want to create a task which is specific to story. Okay, now what I have to do is we need to call it as a subtask. So just click on the story, then you will see this window, and here you can see one option called create subtask. So once you click on the create subtask, then subtask, what are the tasks you want to do? So the first task, as a tester we need to add some tasks, as a developer also we need to add some tasks. Okay, now let me add first development task. So as a developer, what you will do first? So these are the different activities we do. So understand the requirement, design, coding, unit testing, and everything. So let me add some tasks. So first understand, let's say, or we can simply directly, I'll say understand requirements is understand requirement, create, and this is QA and dev, both the job combinedly will do. Okay, I say dev and QA together will understand the requirements, create. So now one task is created, you can see, and somebody in the team, we can just complete the status task later. So now another task, I say development, or we can simply say design. Design is a one task, and then development done by the developer, and then unit testing is done by the developer, and then what else they can do? Unit testing and integration testing, and developer will do that. And also developer fix the bugs, so bug fixing. So these are all the different tasks will add by the developers. And similarly for the same story, we also add our QA tasks. So just you can just close this for now, and once it is closed, so you can just close it. Then so developer is define their own task for this particular story. Now you can just look at the Scrum board. See this is the registration story, login story, logout story, right? So for registration story, developer is added their own tasks. Understanding requirement, design, development, unit testing, integration testing, bug fix, right? So now we need to add our own task. Testing task we need to add. So how we can add? Again, click on the same story, registration, which will open up the window. Now these are the stories created by the, these are the tasks created by the developer. So he is responsible for completing these tasks. And once the developer is completed these all tasks and also tester tasks, then only we can say story is completed. Okay. Now let us add few more tasks from the QA side. So click on this plus button, you can add, or you can click on this create subtask. Okay. Now QA side. So understand the requirement dev and QA is already there. So now test cases creation, creating test scenarios and test cases. So this is a one activity done by the QA. So create. Now one task is created. And then after test cases, what we will do is we will set up environment and install build. This is another task because it takes some few number of hours, right? So each and every task we have to calculate, guys. Okay, so because we will track each and every activity in the hours. So you need to, even if you do some 1 hour task, we have to track that. So which will again automatically impact at your burn down charts and reports. So setting up environment and installation of build, and then finally execute test cases, and then verify bugs, right? So these are the QA tasks. So once we added all the development and QA tasks to this particular story, we can just close this. So developers and testers will do these tasks. Product owner will not do this. Product owner just will add the stories to the sprint. Once the sprint is started, that is again testers and developers responsibility. Now we can just look at the Scrum board. If I just look at this board, sprint board here, for registration only, we have added 6 subtasks. Just a moment. Let me increase the size. Okay. Now for registration, we have a 6 subtasks, but rest of the stories, so far we haven't added any tasks. So first we will see the entire flow for registration, then we will see rest of the stories. So for this particular sprint, we have planned 3 stories: registration, login, and logout. For registration story, we have added tasks, developer tasks and QA tasks. Okay. So once we added this, now we need to progress. So how we need to progress? So as soon as we have done this registration, suppose as a QA or dev, we have done this task, for example, or this task is in progress, then we have to move it into the progress. Slowly we have to drag it. Just a moment. So we cannot directly drag this. We can only drag the stories, not the tasks. So what we have to do, as soon as we completed this story, we have to just click on this. Okay. And there will be something called to do. You can see the status is to do, right? So if you want to put as in progress, you can just put in progress. Okay. And then say close. Now it is automatically moved to in progress section. The task is moved to in progress, right? Understanding. And once it is done, once it is completed, again, click on the same thing and you can change the status. So done. So I'd say close. So now it is moved to done state. So for this particular story, understanding requirement by dev and QA is done. So we have moved it to the done. So one task is completed for the story. Now development testing task will go parallelly, right? So what we can do, development design part. So developer will completed the design, done. Okay, now the design is completed by the development. Now once the design is also done, development testing activities will go parallelly. So both the tasks should be in the in progress. So how we can change it? So development is in progress now. Currently developers are developing the software, so we can put in progress. And developer will update the status on day-to-day basis. Now development is in progress. Parallelly, our testing should also in progress. As per testing, what you will do, creating the test scenarios and test scenarios. So tester will update this. Tester, what he will update? In progress. So once you click on the in progress and then close it. So now you can just look at here, development and test scenarios and test cases from QA side. These two tasks are in progress. So Scrum Master will manage all these things, guys. So Scrum Master every day look at this particular Scrum board and check how people are working and how people are progressing, what are the tasks are in progress, what how tasks are completed or done. So they will monitor it. Okay, if there is any delaying in Scrum meeting or Scrum call, they will discuss. So once you added all the tasks, this is a developer and tester responsibility to complete these tasks which are created for the story. So once all the tasks are completed for this particular story, then we can say the story is completed, the story is done. Now let us assume, let me complete all the tasks. So you can just say unit testing, right? So unit testing, click on the unit testing. Let's say developer is done. You can also assign here developer. Suppose uh, at the time of adding the stories itself, we have to select the assignee here. So I said done. So unit testing is also done. So integration testing. So integration testing is also as updating as a done. And then these are all QA activities. So let us see development activities are done or not. So bug fixing is also developer activity. So this is also done. So to complete the story, first of all, we need to complete all the tasks which are associated to that particular story. And so development tasks are done. So now only QA tasks are pending. So now I'm also progressing. So you can update in progress if I say, which will go to the second section. So set up an environment installation build is in progress. And then again, if I just click on this, I can just finish this. You can say done and close it. So now it will go to done state. And creating the test scenarios or test case are also completed. So you can just say done and say close and automatically go to done state. And two tasks are pending, only executing, verifying bugs. And test case execution is also completed. Then you can say done. Or if it is in progress, you can say progress. Then what is the final task is pending is development is also completed, right? So you can say development is done. Move to done state. So all the tasks have completed except the verify bugs. So to close this particular story, or we can say to done particular story, all the tasks should be completed. So if I just look at here again, this is also should be closed, done. So now we can just look at for this particular story, there are no tasks are pending. So these tasks will be updated on day-to-day basis based upon your progress. So now it is done. Everything is moved to the done. Okay. Now, finally, what we can do? We can move the story to the done state. That means we can directly drag the story to the done state, or we can click on the move to done. You can see here, click on this move to done. Then automatically the story update parent issue not required. So here we can say done story, I'm saying. So you can also look at here, all the tasks are crossed here. That means what? All the tasks are completed. Okay. And then we say done. So once the tasks are completed, then we can say the story is done. Now we can see the story is crossed here. Okay. So registration story is completed. Once you done all the tasks, similarly the same thing will be done for every story. Same thing will be done for every story. Similarly, once all the stories are completed, all the stories are in done state, then we can say within the sprint duration we have to complete this. Suppose if there is any story which is not completed in that particular sprint, again that we will replan for the next sprint. Okay, we can add the same story for the next sprint if it is not completed. Or if there are any bugs which are not fixed in the sprint one, those bugs also we can create as a task, we can add them into next sprint. Okay, this is again continuous process. So once all the stories have been completed, first it will come to in progress, then it will come to done. So once it is done, your cycle will be completed, your sprint cycle will be completed. So now we can just look at here, registration is completed. I say login. So login, we need to add task first of all. Okay, without adding task, without complete that, we don't do any activity on the story. This is called as a Scrum board, which will automatically provided by the Jira tool itself. So What we have seen so far is we have seen how to create a sprint, how to add user stories to the sprint. We have started the sprint, and also we have added the subtasks. Also, we have added the subtasks and added the subtasks to the story. And also we have seen sprint cycle, like to do, in progress, done. So each story will move on to the different cycle. So different stages, sorry, stories within the sprint will move to the first to do state, then in progress, then done. So to move the story one stage to another story, first we need to finish all the tasks which are defined for that particular story. Okay, so these are the activities we do. Finally, suppose if we found any bug in the particular story, then how we can report the bug? Then simply just go to the create, and here instead of story and task, select the bug. So once you selected the bug, this is a bug actually. So once you selected the bug, just a moment, right? So create, and this is the project. I'm going to create a bug. It should select actually. Okay, just a moment. So let's open the project once again. Refresh the page if something is not working. Sometimes it is not responding properly. All right, so now you can just go to create, and here issue type is story. I'm just selecting the bug here. Sorry, it is not selecting actually. It should select the bug. This is a problem with the browser. See this? It is not selecting the bug. Task also, nothing is selecting. It's just selecting only story. Okay, so what we can do is, one sec. Okay, so here we are not able to select any bug here because this is a small problem with the application or UI. It is, I think it is a problem with the UI, a browser. So I'll show you this after a few minutes in the different way. So this is how we can just do the Scrum activities. Okay, because reporting the bug is again comes under the test cycle, so that we will see separately. So creating the sprint in Jira we have seen, and adding user stories to the sprint, starting sprint. Then we also added subtasks to the story, and we have updated the status of the stories. And finally, we completed the task for that particular story, and then we close the story. This is all about sprint life cycle. Okay, so this is how we need to do the Scrum activities within the Jira tool. Okay, so apart from this, we also can do test management activities. Like we can write a test cases, and we can create a test cycles. We can add the test cases to the particular cycles. We can update the execution status. We can report the bugs. So these things are comes under the test management activities. That is the next activity, test management activities. But by default, Jira will not provide you these options, test management activities. To perform test management activities, so we have to install a special plugin called Zephyr plugin. Okay, so this is a new plugin which we have to install to perform test management activities. Okay, so that we will see now. So now let us start test management activities. So what are the test management activities we do? Normally in the test management activities, we will write the test cases. Okay, or suppose you already written the test cases in Excel sheet or Excel file, we can directly import all the test cases into Jira. So we can write our own test cases directly in Jira, or we can import the test cases from Jira. So test cases we can write. And what else? We create the test cycles. So what is the test cycle means? The test cycle means we can say regression test cycle or functional test cycle or sanity test cycle. So each cycle we will add some number of test cases, and we will execute those test cases in that particular cycle, and then we report the bugs if there is any mismatches between expected and actual. So that we should happen in the test cycle. So creating the test cases, creating the test cycle, and once test cycle started, we will execute the test cases manually, and then we will update the test cases. Update test cases, passed or failed or blocked. Okay, and after that we can see we can also report the bugs, and then we can generate the reports. So these are the main activities we'll do as part of test management, right? So now I will show you how we can do these activities in Jira tool by using Zephyr plugin. So normally Jira don't provide any options to do this. So we have to install additional plugin called Zephyr inside the Jira, then it is possible. Okay. Now we can just look at here, go to the project, and when you click on the create here, you will see only three types here: story, task, bug, task, and epic. Nothing. Story, task, bug, and epic. Only four issue types you can see. But if you want to write the test cases and test cycles, if you want to create, you have to see one more type here, that is called as a test. So test issue type you have to see here along with the task, bug, and epic. But by default it is not appeared here because so far we haven't installed Zephyr plugin. So now I'm going to install Zephyr plugin, and then we will see one more task you will get here. So cancel it. So how we can install Zephyr plugin? So to install Zephyr plugin, first we need to go to apps section in the Jira tool. There is a something called apps menu. Here you can just look at, go to apps, and you can just say find new apps. Click on this, find new apps. So inside this find new apps, you have to search for Zephyr. So once it displayed everything, you can search for Zephyr. So these are the different plugins which are supported in Jira tool. Now we are searching for Zephyr. And once you type Zephyr, just press enter. Now we can see multiple plugins. So this is the first plugin which we have to install. So Zephyr for Jira test management. So a flexible test management solution inside Jira. Perfect for agile teams focusing on the test design, execution, and test automation, and so on. So we have to just select this, click on this. So once you click on that app or a plugin, which will go to another screen, and this is a again free for 1 month. 30 days trial is there. After 30 days, which will expire. Okay, this particular plugin. So now you can just click on try it free. And once you add this plugin, so which will show you all the information about this, then set start free trial. Click on start free trial, and then which is adding Zephyr plugin into Jira tool. So once it is added successfully, then we can do test management activities. So once it is done, you can just close this. So you can say we will tell you when your app has been added. You can just close this. Now it is it is trying to add the plugin into Jira tool. So still it is in progress. So once it is done, yeah, now we can get the success message. Zephyr for Jira test management was added. So once you have done this, you can just go to manage app, click on manage app, and which will show you again all the different apps which are installed in Jira tool. Not required. Now just go to Jira software logo and it will go to home page. Now observe this. When you click on the Jira software here, your project is showing. Click on the project, you will see the home page again. Now observe this. Previously we don't have this option. Zephyr option we don't have previously. Now it is added here. That is the one change. The next thing is, previously when I click on the create, we can see only task, bug, and epic story. Test was not there. Now we got additionally test option. Okay, additionally we got the test option. So these two changes you will notice after installing Zephyr plugin within the Jira tool. Okay, so once you have done this, then we can do test management activities in Jira tool. Okay, now let me do you how we can do this quickly. Very simple and very easy also. So first let me show you how to write the test cases. So to write the test cases, first we need to go to Zephyr here. So these are all options which are available for Agile or Scrum process. But if you want to do the test management activities, we need to click on Zephyr option here. Click on Zephyr, then it will give you few more options, and there are multiple sections are there. So you can just look at design section, planning and execution, and reporting, and then integrations. There are multiple sections are there. And design section, mainly we create a test case and BDD type of test case, and we can search the test which we have already written. And if you have test case in some Excel file or some other sources, we can import those test cases. So these things we can do as part of design part. And planning and execution, we can create as test cycles, we can execute our test cases, and we can also update the status or passed or failed. So these things we can do as part of planning and execution. And after execution is completed, we can see the reports, test summary report, test metrics, traceability matrix. So these things we can see as part of reporting. Okay, these are the things is possible through Zephyr plugin. So now I'll quickly show you how to write the test cases. And two ways we can do this, guys. One thing is we can directly write the test case in Jira. That is one thing. Or if you have written multiple test cases which are already there in Excel file, you can import those test cases in Jira. You can import those test cases in Jira. So I will show you both the ways. Okay, so what we can do is go to Jira tool. Okay, so how to create the test cases. So click on the create test. So how we have to navigate here from the main home page, click on Zephyr plugin. Then you can see create test. So click on the create test, and then you will get one more screen like this. Inside this, this is a project name and issue type is a test. Issue type is a test by default selected. Now here we have to provide the test summary. Okay, let me add one small test case. So here I have few test cases. Okay, now let me add one test case, or we can also add open card test cases which we have already created earlier. So let me add one small test case here, some sample test case for I say registration, or we can say register user. This is summary, or you can just copy this summary as it is. Okay, or else I will upload those test cases later. So first I'll try to show you a small test case, how to write the test case. Okay, so here the summary is, I say log into test case. Later if you want you can delete this, no problem. So log into test case, so log into application. So this is my summary of the test case. And if you have any document which is required to understand the test case, you can upload and you can write the description. So log into application, this small description you can provide. And then whatever the information you want to add, you can add, like assignee who is responsible for executing test case, and on for which epic you are creating, and on which sprint you are planning. You can just specify that, active sprint or future sprint. So you can also update these details later. So for now, just create a new test case like this. So, but test case means what? We need to provide the actions and expect result and everything, right? But this one doesn't have anything. So where we have to update them? So we will update in the next screen. So after filling the details, basic details, summary and description and everything, then we have to click on create. So once you click on the create, then the test case is created. Just we need to click on this issue link. So your issue has been created, but is not currently visible. You can just click here, or after a few seconds, it will disappear. But where you can see the test case which is created, you have to go to search test. Okay, click on the search test. Then here you can see whatever test case you created. So this is a test case just now we created, but we haven't provided any actions, expected result, priorities and everything, right? So now we need to add them. So where we can add, just click on this test case link. Now it will show you this particular screen, and here you can find multiple options here: attachment, create a subtask, link, and Zephyr actions, and test details, and test executions, and so on. Multiple options are displayed. So now we need to add steps and expected results to this particular test case. Now how we can add it? If you want to add it, what we can do is we just go to details, test details icon, we have to click. So once you click on test details icon, then you can see the small form, test details form, right? So here you have to provide the test step, data, test result. Okay, what step you have to perform, what data you have to use, what is the result we are expecting. So these three things we have to add. So first let me write one step. So here open application URL. Okay, what is the test data we use? www.opencard.com. And test results, what you are expecting? App URL open and able to see home page. This is our expected. Able to see home page, the first step. Then after completion of the first step, click on the tick mark. Then we can add one more step. See this, one step is added. And the second step. So what is the second step? To log in. So here provide valid username and password. And what is the data here? Valid user and password. And what is the expected? What is the expected? Provide valid username and password. Valid username password. What is expected here? Text fields. Text fields should allow values. Okay, done. So next step is done. After completion of this step, again we have to click on the tick mark. Then one step is added. So two steps added so far. Now third step. So after providing username password, then what you have to? We have to click on submit. You can click on submit button, and then no data, not required, not applicable, and user should go to my account page. So this is our expected result. And this is my last step. So we can just click on this, done. So another step you don't need, you can just click on the cross mark or let it be there. So three steps we have added: test data, test results, and everything. Apart from this, we can also add some other information and any comments if you have, history, working log. So all these things we can update if required, or else we can leave it empty. So this is how we need to create a test case. Now I have created one test case manually in Jira tool. But again, this is little difficult thing, guys, because if you have 100 test cases, if you want to do this like this 100 times, it is very, very difficult task, right? So normally what you will do in the beginning levels, we will write all the test cases in the Excel sheet or Excel file. So we will conduct multiple reviews. Once you approved your test cases, then we will upload all the test cases in one shot. Instead of writing multiple test cases like this, we will import all the test cases into Jira at one shot. Okay. Now I'll show you how we can do that import also. So once you created your test case, where you can see the test cases, in where exactly in which place you can see the test cases, first go to the project and you will see the project homepage. We need to first go to Zephyr plugin, and here inside the Zephyr, okay, you can see the search test, and inside the search test, you can see the test case. And once you click on the test case, and then you can see the details. So these are the details. Yeah, now we can see the all the steps and everything. So if you want to execute the test case, then we can go to execute. So test execution. So this option we will use later. Once we added these test cases to the test cycle, then we will do that. Okay, so this is a way we can create test case manually in Jira. Suppose I don't want to do like this. I want to import bulk number of test cases into Jira at one shot. Okay, then how we can do that? So now I'm going to show you. The next thing is how to import the test cases. So far, we have seen two things. So how to install Zephyr plugin, and also we added issue type test to the project. Issue we have seen like this is not required. And then we have seen how to create a test case in Jira manually, right? So now I'm going to show you how to import multiple test cases into Jira tool. So now I have already test cases written in my Excel file. So I want to import them into Jira tool. So how we can do that? So to do this, we need to follow certain prerequisites, guys. Okay. So we have to write the test cases in Excel by using proper template, because in our Excel file, in our test cases, the headings will be different. And as per Jira perspective, the headings will be different. So we need to be sync in both, like Excel sheet, whatever headings we are using, in which format we are using Excel file, that should exactly match with the Jira format. And then only we can import. Okay. So here I have created a few number of test cases according to Jira template or Jira format. So here the main, you can add any number of fields, but you need to map later. So here I have written few number of fields. Let's say test case names, test case description, and these are the steps for one test case. These are the test data for each step, test results, and labels. If you require, you can update the labels also. Okay, so this is one test case still here, and this is another test case. So totally two test cases I have: register user, user login. So let us say I have n number of test cases like this. I want to import all the test cases in my Jira. So how we can import them? Instead of writing each and every step, I can import all the test cases in one shot. So let's see how we can do that. So we have login to application already there. So let me try to delete this test case because I'm just going to import now. So I'm just deleting the test case. So now I don't have any test cases. Now if I just go to search issues, right? So not here. We need to go back to the project. And here, go to Zephyr. Inside the Zephyr, we have to search for issues. Go to the Zephyr, click on the Zephyr, and then you can see search test. So in the search test, I don't have any test cases. Everything is empty. Okay, now I want to import the test cases. So to import the test cases, make sure your Excel file or your test case template should exactly match with Jira template. Okay, so this is the format exactly Jira will follow. So now let us try to import these test cases in Jira tool. So how we can do that? So here you can see some functionality called import. Again, go back to Jira. Sorry, go back to our project. And everything we can do only within the Zephyr plugin. So select the Zephyr here. So here you have to select something called import test. You can see here, this is import test. Click on this import test. And once you have done this, you have to do some flow here. I'll show you. So you can just close this all. Okay. So once you click on the import test, so here you have to choose the Excel file. So this is the Excel file which I am going to import. This is the Excel file which I am going to import. Two test cases: register user, user login. So close this Excel file before. So here I am browsing the file. Click on the choose file. I am selecting the Excel file, open. So now it is trying to get that file. Okay, once it is done, and you can just click on the next. It is success. Then click on the next. And here in the Excel file, an Excel sheet, the first row is a heading part, right? So we have to start from the second. So instead of 1, we have to say 2 here. Okay, and then delimiter, if a discriminator, you can just look at here in the Excel sheet, how the test cases recognize, how we can recognize the test cases are different. So one test case to another test case, is there any discriminator there? So based on the test case name change. Suppose if there is an empty row between one test case and another test case, you have to select empty row. Or if you are using ID, so you can use ID change. So multiple options are available. So currently the test case name is a different. So I can say select test case name. So if I just look at again, Jira test cases. See this here, the test case name is here. And what's the next test case where it start again with the test case name. So test case name is a discriminator. Similarly, I selected this and import all the sheets or import selected sheet. If you have multiple sheets in your Excel, you can select first one. If you want to select, if you want to import only test case from specific sheet, then select the second one, import selected sheets. And here we have to provide the name of the sheet. So let me check the name of the sheet. So test cases, this is the name of the sheet. So I'm just writing then test cases. Okay, and then click on next. So once you click on the next, it will try to import the Excel sheet which contains all the test cases. Yeah. So now this is the very, very most important step. So here, so these are the actual Jira fields. For every test case, there will be assignee, comments, component, description, epic link, external. There are a lot of things are there for every test case. But in our Excel template, we have to map these fields with our Excel template. For example, in Excel, what are the headings we have? So we have description. So just select the drop down, and these are the fields which we have written in our Excel sheet. So we need to exactly map with that. So description is available in our Excel. So we need to select the test case description. And what else we have in Excel file? So we have a name also. So TC name, test case name, we can map. And then what else we have? We have a steps. So steps we can map with the test step. And test data is also there. So test data we can map. So like this, whatever fields or columns we have in Excel file. So we need to map all the columns with the Jira fields. Okay. So once the mapping is done, right? So then you can say next. And do we have anything? Result is also we have, right? So expected result. So test results also we can map. That's it. So whatever the columns we have written in the Excel, the same fields we need to map it here, and then next. Done. So once we click on the next, so just validate here, because every mapping, whatever we have done is correct or not. If you want to validate, you can just click on validate. And if mapping is perfectly done, so which is success. So two issues will be created successfully. And then we can just begin import. Click on begin import. So once you click on begin import, now your test cases are importing. So previously we don't have any test cases. Now I'm trying to import two test cases. So now let it complete. Yeah, now two issues have been imported successfully. And again, if you want to import few more test cases, again, go begin another import. Again, process will start. Okay, this is the workflow of importing Excel: setup, settings, mapping, validation, and then import. So now where you can see the test cases which are imported, just again go to search tests. Then here you will able to see the two test cases. So now let me open the login. Click on the login. Now you see the description, and also you will see the steps. Go to the details here. Click on the details. Now you can see all the steps have been successfully created. 5 steps we have in the test case. Similarly, register user. So go to the details, and here all the steps have been created. Okay, so this is how we can import multiple test cases from Excel to Jira. So this is very, very useful option, and this is the way we can do most of the times. We don't write individual test cases manually. It takes a lot of time. So instead, because initially we will start with Excel file. So once all the reviews are completed, finally, we will import all the test cases from Excel to Jira tool. Okay, done. So this is how we need to import multiple test cases in Jira tool. So this is the first initial task we do. So we have created test cases manually, or we can import the test cases into Jira tool. Okay, and the next and final action is we have to create the test cycles. We have to add test cases to the cycles. Then we have to execute reports and traceability matrix. There are few options which we have to do. Okay, so creating the test cycle. So we have just created the test cases, right? But where exactly we have to execute them? So we have to execute those test cases while creating a cycle, test cycle within the sprint. Okay, within the sprint itself, we will get multiple builds from the developer, right? So for each build, we will create a new cycle, and the set of test cases we will add to that particular cycle, and then we will execute it. Okay, so now I'll show you how to create a cycle, how to add the test cases to the cycle, then how to execute or update the status of the test cases, and then finally we will see the reports. So let's go back. Now we are done with the test cases. Now again, go back to the Zephyr plugin, go to our projects and click on the Zephyr. Okay, once you click on the Zephyr, it will show you all the options. Yeah, so now come to the next section, planning and execution. So cycle summary, search, test, execution, manage execution, filters. The multiple options are there. So here we have to go to cycle summary to create a new cycle. So cycle summary. So in the cycle summary, we have to create a new cycle. Okay, now if I just look at here, by default, there are cycles are created. So unscheduled cycle, ad hoc by default will be there. And apart from this with the project version, which is also already created one cycle here. Okay, So if you want to create a new cycle, just click on the create a new test cycle. Okay, so here version number is unscheduled. So we have to select the version number, open card version 001, then cycle. So you can just give a cycle name. So here I name it as my, or you can say regression cycle. Okay, regression cycle. And then you can specify the build number or environment, on which environment you are executing, and from date, which date to which date you are going to execute this cycle. You can select all the details of the cycle and then say save. So now cycle is created, new test cycle is created. So now we need to add test cases to this particular cycle. So what are the test cases we are going to execute as part of the test, as part of the cycle? Okay, so for that, what you can do is you can do two ways. Either you can just open the cycle like this, regression cycle, and you can just add test directly from here, or else we can go to the test cases, individual test cases, and we will update the cycle also. Okay, suppose if you go to the test case, let me go back again, uh, search test cases. There are two ways we can do. Suppose I want to add this login test case to the regression cycle. So select the test case here, and you will see the cycle also somewhere. Priority label. Okay, so here you can just say execution. So test execution or actions. Test execution, just go to these test executions. Okay, and here you can see something. Okay, not execution, actions. Yeah, so you can just go to actions, first icon, and then you can see add to test cycles. So in which cycle you want to add the test case, you can just click on this button, add to test cycle, and then you can select the which cycle you want to add this test case. So individual test cases we can select which will we can add to the cycle. So this is the one option we have. So the other option is we can directly go to the cycle. Let me go back. So go to the cycle summary, which will show you the which cycle we have just created. So if I just look at here, so regression cycle which is created. So now if I want to add the test cases to the cycle, click on add tests here, and here we need to add. So we have to write the test case names here, user login, register login. So user login I'm adding, and then register also I'm adding. And who is responsible to execute this test cases, you have to specify. I'm just giving as a some name. Whoever is assigned, we have to give it that name. So it just specify and then say add. So once we added this, those test cases will be added to particular cycle. Okay, once I added the test cases to the cycle, then we have to execute our test cases as part of the cycle. So now I'll show you how to execute and update the status. That's the next thing. So added test cases to the cycle. Now we are going to execute and update the statuses. So to execute the test cases, what you have to do is we have to first go to the cycle summary. Okay, and also you can just go to search test executions. The second option is available. So go to search test executions. Under search test executions, you can see the what are all test cases are ready for execution here for this particular cycle. Okay, so from here we can update the status. So for example, this particular cycle, regression cycle, these are the test cases are planned, so still unexecuted, we have not executed this. Okay, so you need to execute these test cases manually. There may be pass or fail, whatever it is, we need to update the status. So how to update the status? Click on this test case. Okay, so let us say register user, click on the test case, and once you open the test case, and there is an option called E, small test execution. Okay, so you need to just click on this E. Once you click on the E icon, then here you will able to update. One second. Okay, just a moment. somewhere you can see the option. Yeah, here you can see. So this is the test case unexecuted so far. So now we need to execute. So let me just make it as a pass. Or you can also make execution of step by step. Okay, just a moment. So to execute the test case, we can do here directly, or we can also do in some other way. I'll show you. Just a moment. So first of all, open the test case, go to the details. Don't directly go to execution, go to the details. Okay. So once you go to the details, one sec. So these are the steps, right? You can see these steps. Just a moment. Okay. So here, I think there is another way to do this, but it's not showing anywhere. We can make the test case passed or fail. Even step level also we can do that. So somewhere I could not see that option. Okay, so we'll see that later. So for now, I'm just using this option. So just come down. So this is a test case and which is not executed. So I'm just passing it for now. Okay, pass, success. And similarly, just go back again, test cycle. Once it is passed, then go back to your test cycle. Okay, so now you can just look at here, two test cases, one test case got passed, we have executed. So similarly, I'll make one test case got failed. So click on the test case once again. Here, user login. Okay, and here again, I want to make this test cases passed, failed. So you can just go here and I make it as a fail. So my test case got failed. So manually you have to execute. Okay, execute accordingly. You have to update the status here. So once it is failed, everything is done. So once it is done, go to again, go back. Right. So once you go back, now you can see the execution status. So one is got failed, one is got passed. So now you need to report the failure test case as a bug, right? So then you can just go to create. And here, instead of test, you have to select the bug. Okay, now bug is selected. Now you have to write the summary. So login failed with valid credentials, right? So you need to write all the steps for login, right? You need to write all the steps here, and then developer name. So he is a reporter and fixed versions. So in which version you want to fix. So these details automatically populate, guys. Okay, your project will be set up in the Jira before itself. So all the versions, everything will be populated. And priority. And as per the Jira, by default, it will show you only priority. But if you want to get the severity, we need to add some customized options. So the customized options will be added by the admin. So you guys can also select the priority as well as severity, and on which environment you have executed the test cases, and screenshots you can attach here, and in which version these bugs are affected. So all these things you have to specify assignee. So who is responsible for fixing this issue? We have to select the developer name like this, and on which epic you got this issue, you have to select on which sprint you got this issue. You can select the sprint. So all these things you have to select and then create. So this is how we need to raise a bug. So now you can see bug is raised. If I just go and click on this link, you can see the bug information. So this is all about bug details. So once the developer starts working on that bug, they will update the status, and they will also write the comments here, whether it's fixed or it is in progress, and how what is the status of the bug, and accordingly we have to re-verify and close it. And if you want to see all the bugs list, where you can see is, we can just go back to the project again. And here you can just look at the issues, right? If I just click on the issues, you will see all kinds of issues. So including stories, tasks, bugs, everything you can see here. Okay, whichever you want to click here, that details will be displayed at the right side. So this is all about bug reporting. So whenever you find a test case got failed, you can report the bug.
So we also seen reporting bugs. And finally, we can also see the reports. So Agile reports will be different, guys. In Agile, we will see burn down charts and everything. I will show you that first, and then we'll come back to the test summary reports. Again, go to the project. Okay, and then select the project. Right, so here you can see the something called reports. Okay, in the project dashboard, you can see the reports. So click on the reports, and these are all Agile reports, guys. So not a test case reports. Now you can see there are so many charts are available. So burn down chart, burn up chart, sprint report, velocity chart, cumulative flow diagram. So these are all the metrics which will be taken care by the Scrum Master. So Scrum Master has to know how we can calculate these metrics and how we can check the efforts of the team. And you can just click on each and every chart here, burn down chart. So this is the chart which is basically burned down. Basically, the main information which will display is how much we have planned, how much we have completed, still how much is pending. Okay, so how much story points we have given, how much story points we have expended on the or spend on the particular story. So those details will be displayed in the burn down charts, and each and every story level, task level, everything will be displayed. So burn down chart, sprint report. So this is again sprint report and velocity chart. So these are all automatically displayed in the Jira tool. Somehow it is not displayed because if it doesn't have proper data, which will not display. So version report, epic report, control chart. So there are a lot of things are there, guys, which will taken care by the Scrum Master. So he's the main role. Okay, he's main basically driving the process and facilitating the agile. He will monitor everything. So these are all the agile related reports. But what about the test summary reports? We need to go to Zephyr plugin. Again, go to project, and here there is a project called Zephyr, right? So Zephyr, all the test related activities we can see only in the Zephyr. Okay, because that is the additional plugin through which we have done that. So in the Zephyr plugin, you can see reporting, test summary, test metrics, traceability matrix. If I just go to test summary, which will give you test summary report. Okay, so you can see here total tests we have created, two are executed. Okay, and everything labels, if there are any labels, so labels will be displayed. If there are any components will be displayed. So scheduled cycle, unscheduled cycle will be displayed here. So this is a test summary report and test metrics. So if we go to test metrics, it will display the test metrics also. How many are failed, how many are passed in the graphical format. Okay, which will show you that this is a one type of test summary report. Then traceability matrix. These are the three important reports we will have for testing. And agile reports and graphs will be taken care by the Scrum Master. We don't need to bother about, but at least we need to know what are the different graphs will be created in agile process. In interview, people may ask you. So these are the different traceability matrix, guys. So what are the requirements we have and what are the tests we have created, executions level, defects. So everything will be displayed here. So we have to select proper, we need to have proper data and we have to map them correctly. And then only the report will be accurate, right? If there is any mismatching or not mapping is done, like sprint is different, test case are different cycle. So then report will not be accurate. So if you provide all the data, test cases, cycles, everything properly, then your reports will be accurate. Okay. And you can also filter this. How many, all types or version, what is the different versions, cycles. And if there are any folders within the cycles, we can select the folder level and execution status, how many are passed, how many failed. So this kind of information, we can see that. Okay, so these are the tasks also we have completed earlier as part of Agile, right? So that also will be displayed here. So these are the three important reportings are there in Jira, especially for test management side, and charts, which are again belongs to Agile, burn down charts, velocity charts. So they will take care of Scrum Master. So they will analyze the report and they will check the health of the Agile, like how the process is going on, what are the blockers, how much extra time is needed. So those things will be analyzed by the Scrum Master by seeing those reports. And here the test reports we will taken care by us. Even our management leads will look at these reports, how our testing is progressed. Okay, so these things are available, and additionally there are some options are provided integrations. Suppose your test cases are automated through Selenium or some Postman tool or some other API test cases, you can also integrate those tools with the Jira. So you can also execute test cases, automation test cases in Selenium, and the status we can see in Jira also. So for that, some APIs are provided here. Some options, integration options are provided within the Jira. So by using these options, we can also integrate Jira with some third-party tools. So that kind of facility which is already there in Jira. By using Zephyr plugin, which is impossible. Okay, otherwise we cannot do this. So these are all different options are available, very high level, and day-to-day basis we almost work with these options as a test engineer, because different people will involved in the project and different people are having different roles. So according to those roles, permissions will be given, and according to those roles, they will create the stories, or some people will create the story, some people will add the task, some people will track the status, some people will move the stories from one phase to another phase, some people will work on the reports. So depends upon the privileges or permissions, you will work on the Jira tool. Okay, so this is all about Jira test management tool. So these are all test management activities, and these are all Scrum related activities we can do using single tool. So that's the beauty of Jira. So in single place we can do everything. But if I don't use Jira, we have to use multiple tools. Like for Agile, we use some tool. For test management, we use some tool. For bug tracking, we use another tool. So instead of using multiple tools, we can do everything in one place. So that's the reason Jira becomes very popular. So this is all about Jira tool. Okay, so Jira is Agile test management tool. So we are using cloud instance. So you can work with this instance almost 30 days, and every option you can try with that. So I'll share a small document. So I have taken the screenshot of almost every activity what we have done in the Jira. So go through this document and practice each and every option which I have explained in the session. Okay, everything is there, but test management activities I have not captured the screenshot here, and you guys can go through the video parallelly, you can do the tasks. Okay, till bug reporting, sprint cycle creation, adding the stories to the sprint, all of them. So creating the test cases, importing the test case, I already shown you in the video, so you guys can watch this video once again and then do these things. Okay, so that is all about Jira tool, how we need to automate agile activities or test management activities in Jira tool guys. Okay, so that's all for this session.